Are you an oversharer? Maybe a data dumper? Or perhaps you can be a rambler with a side of rabbit holes? Well, if that's the case, then you are invited to my upcoming online workshop. It's called The Goldilocks Effect. Yep, you guessed it, just like Goldilocks. It's where I'm going to teach you how to say not too little, not too much, but just the right amount so that you can land your message with impact every single time. Now, this is not one of those webinar style workshops where you just rock up and listen and I talk at you for 75 minutes. No, 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 no. This is a highly interactive, perhaps an opportunity to practice, but definitely an opportunity to ask questions and get your specific scenarios mapped out. So it's happening on Thursday, the 30th of October. Yep, the day before Halloween, 12:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. It's going to run for 75 minutes, so we've got plenty of time to ask all of the questions, as well as for you to get some really powerful frameworks to stop rambling, to stop data dumping, and stop going down all of those rabbit holes when you're trying to make your point. It costs $67 and the link is in the show notes. So I'm looking forward to seeing you there. With that said, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Speaking with Confidence with Kat Matson, the show where I coach people like you, other humble leaders. Whether you're a business owner, public servant, or perhaps you're a corporate hippie like me, how to speak, how to show up, with authenticity, with authority, with confidence and impact. So you can make the difference that you're looking to make in the world. It's fabulous to have you here. And today I'm talking, it's a bit more of a philosophical, but a big picture conversation today, because one of the things that I notice, particularly with my fellow corporate hippies, when you're trying to make an impact in the world, when you're trying to make a change, when you are trying to advocate for whether it's a policy change, behavior change, whether you're trying to get a new project up the ground, whether you're just trying to get people to listen to you, it takes time. And it can be really demoralizing, boring, frustrating, tedious when it feels like all you're doing is just saying the same thing over and over again. And look, I don't know about you, but sometimes it feels like it's the same as asking my teenagers to stop leaving the dishes in the sink. It's like, how many times can I say this? But making influence and making a dent can actually be the same. Because the fact of the matter is this: your priorities, whether it's having a clear kitchen sink, or whether it's getting more people speaking with confidence, or getting people to think about their verge gardens, or to buy local, or to stop over consuming, whatever it is, whatever your cause is, that's your priority. And 9 times out of 10, it's not the priority of the people that you're talking to. And so when we embark on these adventures, on these causes of advocating for something bigger than ourselves, we need to be strategic. We need to be patient. And we need to have some compassion for ourselves, I think. So I want to share 3 kind of key frameworks that I use when I'm feeling like no one's listening, or when I'm not making a fast enough impact. These frameworks were very much informed during my time in the public sector, where holy guacamole, Batman, change takes time. And you just need to keep going. You just need to keep going. So the first tip, and this sounds a little bit twee, but it's really powerful, is to be strategic. Now, yeah, I know. But it's actually, when we think about being strategic, it's more than just having a plan for getting your message out there. You actually need to be strategic in how you think about the change that you're trying to influence and what those goals are, what the messaging might be, what the different stories might be, and who the different audiences are. I have spoken on this podcast before about the storytelling canvas, and I will pop a link in the show notes to that episode. But one of the things that I do with my clients when we're talking about making long-term influence is we map out a storytelling canvas, not for a single presentation, but for an entire change, for the entire piece of work, if you like. And sometimes these can be, 10-year programs. You think about trying to change a government policy, that's not something that happens in 5 minutes. That is a long-term strategy. And so we map that out using the storytelling canvas to identify where is our audience at now and where do we want them to be at the end of this piece of influence? What's the shift? What's the change in behavior that we're trying to make? We also then look at who specifically are those audiences. Who are the primary audiences? Who are the secondary audiences? Who and what are the different perspectives and the different levels of influence that those audiences have? We also map out what are the key messages that those different audiences need to not only hear, but understand and be able often to say themselves. One of the things that I learnt when I was Brisbane's Chief Digital Officer was, and the Chief Digital Officer role was around innovation and startups and small business support. It wasn't about tech. But one of the things that I learnt was, talking about the benefits of startups, for example, or talking about the benefits of innovation, for example, that's no good if your big spokespeople like your Lord Mayor, if they can't articulate the benefits of it in their own words that have them feel comfortable, they're not going to say it. So, I could talk about things like open innovation and the benefit of getting local businesses to solve the city's challenges themselves, et cetera, and that's all might sound fantastic to me. But until the spokespeople, until your audience can not only understand what you're saying, but say it themselves, you're not going to get the change. So when I shifted my messaging from open innovation to driving the local economy by supporting small businesses to sell to council, things started to shift. So the first thing I do with my clients is we map out a very big, very big storytelling canvas that has them see all of the moving parts, if you like, of the change that they're trying to make. Once that's done, you can then move on to what I think is the second piece. And this is what I call micro conversations. When you've got a big storytelling canvas mapped out, when you've identified your key messages, the journey that you're taking people on, the gap between what they currently believe and what you want them to believe, the different audiences and their vested interests or their objections, or their perhaps motivations. Once you've got all of that really clear, the micro conversations then become a little bit easier. Now, what do I mean by micro conversations? I mean the conversations where you're not necessarily on and making a presentation or delivering a speech or preparing a briefing paper or delivering a piece of content on social or writing a blog post. I mean the micro conversations where you just happen to bump into someone who is a member of your audience who has influence, or you just happen to be asked, what do you think about XYZ? In those micro conversations, when you're clear on your bigger picture storytelling canvas, you can very quickly pull in a relevant testimonial, case study, reason that matches your audience member, this person that you're talking to, their motivations, their concerns, their objections. I got plenty of things done in local government because I was ready to be on message. And when I had those side conversations with somebody in a lift well or at an event, I was able to speak in their language, speak to their concerns, speak to their motivations, And I often say put words in their mouth, and I don't mean that in the cynical way. I mean give them the information in a way that they can then repeat it. Because when others can repeat it, then they'll start spreading it. But if they can't repeat it, if all they're doing is nodding and agreeing with you, but it's still too complicated for them to pass on, then you're not getting influence. You're just getting a little bit of agreement. So those micro conversations and then being ready for them and using them is a really powerful way to drive influence over time. The final piece, and it's kind of linked to the micro conversations, but it's also a bit of a bigger perspective, is weaving your messages through everything that you do. If you're a regular listener, if you've been in my world for more than 5 minutes, you will know that I talk a lot, almost ad nauseum, about the power of the earn the right, or the what I now call the I am story, the who you are, what you do, why you do it, and some brag bag stories that support it. The power that comes from having that foundational piece means that when you are creating content, when you are delivering a presentation, when you are doing something on social media, when you're creating a podcast, all of the things, you've got these messages, you've got these themes, you've got these case studies, these stories, these illustrations that you can literally weave through everything. What I find with my Impactful Presenter students, with my Impact Club members, because they keep fishing for their brag bag stories, because they keep playing with their earn the right and their elevator pitch, there's just always this new content, this new flavor that they can weave into every conversation. And this is where it can feel like, oh my God, if I never talk about this thing again, it'll be too soon. But it's where people hear you in a way that doesn't feel like you're slapping them around the head with a wet fish. And instead, it's just who you are. It's just what you're about. And so people pay attention. I think one of the things that we tend to do when we're passionate about wanting to make change, when we're desperate to change behavior, we can become shrieky, we can become fist thumpy, we can stamp our feet a little bit, but nobody wants to listen to that. Nobody wants to be told what to do. But when you really take the time to map out your storytelling canvas, when you really take the time to dig deep on your earn the right and your I am story, and to keep pulling out the brag bag stories, but also your why stories, then people feel the change that you're trying to lead, not just hear it as I'm being told what I should do. So mapping out your long-term influence strategy using something like the storytelling canvas, infusing that into micro conversations all the time, and then weaving your messages through everything that you do, your website copy, your presentations, your conversations, your social copy, your calls to action, everything just all has the same theme. It's a little bit like marketing. It's a lot like marketing, but with intention, and with intention to change, not an intention to influence, not just intention to sell. If that sounds intriguing, if that's of value to you, if you're curious, well, first of all, I'm going to link the episode where I talk about the storytelling canvas to showcase your talents, because the more you showcase your talents, you can also showcase your cause, showcase the influence that you're striving to make. So I will link that in the show notes. If you'd like to have a conversation with me about how this might work for you, then please just reach out. The best way to do that is on Instagram at Kat Matson, or you can email me. And I tell you what, it's pretty easy to find katmatson.com.au, and you can find out how to contact me from there. A reminder as we wrap up about the Goldilocks Effect workshop that's coming up in a few weeks, where, yes, you will learn how to say not too little, not too much, but just the right amount to speak with authority, confidence, and impact every single time. And if you've got a question that you would like me to answer on an upcoming podcast, please ask away. You can do that on Instagram or, as I mentioned, the Cat Matson website. One more thing before I go, if you're still listening, thank you. Recently, I hit a beautiful Spotify milestone, 15,000 streams and downloads. That's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. So now I'm motivated and fired up to reach the next milestone. So can you help, please? Can you share this podcast? Take a screenshot, share it to your social media networks. Can you leave a review on Apple or on Spotify? Or can you just comment on Spotify? All of these little signals just help the algorithm to show this podcast to more people. But of course, it also helps it to show up to your community. And I'm guessing that if you're a corporate hippie or a humble leader like me, you're surrounded by other people who are driven to make a positive contribution. So thank you in advance for helping me hit that next podcast milestone. That's it. I'm done for another episode. I look forward to seeing you again next week for another episode. In the meantime, here's to confidence and here's to impact. And I'll talk to you really soon.